Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Don Martelli with the PR Bunker Podcast. It's been a little bit, but I'm getting back to it today on two very, very hot topics and the intersection of communication with these topics. The first one is Covid-19, and the second one is the Black Lives Matter movement. So it's been 3 or so months, maybe a little bit more, since I've been stuck down here in the basement yapping to you guys through this microphone and talking about public relations and marketing and the intersection of all of that and the world. COVID hit, disrupted everything, and businesses went out of business. People got laid off. The world is still sort of reeling with what's going on here. And as our business at the Belfort Group, luckily enough, we've sort of been able to be somewhat adverse to it, or moved around it, if you will, where our business is still sort of at 90-95% capacity and winning business and keeping the staff together, which has been fantastic. But we're dealing with some clients that have had some tough times, and some other clients that have used the opportunity to drive thought leadership. And one particular case I wanted to bring up was with my client, Bright Marine. They basically have built a network to support veterans to get the services they need, whether it be healthcare, career training, or just help in general to help manage their lives and get back to society. One of the issues that they saw recently was the fact that those within senior homes in Massachusetts weren't able to see their loved ones. And unfortunately, because of COVID, loved ones couldn't see them physically, couldn't go to the facilities, and they had a separation. And it was getting pretty bad, to the point where there was a lot of media coverage around the fact that people cannot see their veterans and their veteran families. And unfortunately, some of those veterans were passing away because of COVID, which compounded the issue. It's a really terrible situation, and something that our client decided to step in the middle of, which was really great to be part of. So basically, as Bright Marine saw that there was an issue with veterans living within veteran facilities and not being able to physically see their loved ones, they decided to purchase hundreds and hundreds of iPads and donate them to the soldiers' homes in Chelsea and Holyoke, Massachusetts. And this is a move by the organization Bright Marine to not get PR and not to get any exposure around it, but really just to help families out so they can get connected and see their loved ones in a time when physical distancing is the norm. And it was a really great opportunity for them to lead that charge and not really want credit for it, but even though they did get credit for it, there's a ton of media coverage around it, and people talked about it. It was online, and it just kind of went everywhere, and it was great to see, and it was great to be part of. But what they were doing was really making sure that their loved ones were able to see them, even through devices. But the fact that they spent their own money and made this happen to help support veterans is a great example of how to be a thought leader despite disruption, and do so that aligns with your mission and makes it part of your mission. So it's not really designed to kind of get PR or get media coverage or get exposure, but really because it's the right thing to do. The next thing I want to touch upon is obviously a very interesting subject, and one that I think we all need to be discussing even more, and that's the Black Lives Matter movement. The story has been covered ad nauseum, so I won't get into that. But what I've really noticed and have enjoyed watching has been the way the movement and the folks that are organizing the movement have communicated and demanded change through the multitude of channels at their disposal. Through social media, through activism, through having people walk through the streets and protest. And aside from looting and things of that nature, the message I think was there. And what I found really interesting was the way how brands reacted. Some reacted positively, some didn't react at all. But the fact that they, whether it be consumer brands or higher education institutions or even my firm, we were all out there saying that we stand together with the movement, and we want to make sure that their voices are heard and that change happens. And sometimes the lesson here is that there are outside things that happen within business. They're going to force you to do things that you may not want to do, but in this case, may never thought of doing before, but knowing it was the right thing to do. So I applaud the Black Lives Matter organizers and folks who have supported the cause, because it's really have forced brands and folks like myself that run businesses how to do things differently, and how to communicate better, and how to listen, more importantly, and find ways to be more inclusive and to remove racial injustices and eliminate, the angst around diversity and really embrace it as something positive, because it is. Whether you're selling widgets or you're selling an MBA program or you're working for a marketing firm, I think this is a huge opportunity for us as a society to, embrace this and figure out how we can all do better. And that's the thing that I hear from brands and influencers and people from time to time. It's just about doing better. And the great thing that I find that I'd love to hear your feedback on is, where does this go, right? What can we do as communicators and PR people to keep this narrative in the front end of the narrative and not on the back burner at the 11 p.m. news, but really keep it at the front end, because things like this shouldn't die away and shouldn't die off. Matter of fact, they should be elevated and discussed even more when the noise starts to die down. So, kudos to the Black Lives Matter folks for really pushing this hard and having folks like myself and others really think hard about what we can do to support the cause and do better. Great for brands that are changing the way they do business and looking at how their governance structure is, or how they dole out financial aid or things of that nature. This is a time for us to reflect on our business and what we can do, as I said, to do better. So thanks for joining me on the PR Bunker podcast. Hit me up on the socials at Big Guy D, and LinkedIn is at Don Martelli. A couple of the projects I'm working on that are pretty cool you should check out. The first one is the Belfort Group Insights Videocast, where we focus on critical issues happening in communications and PR, specifically to higher education, professional services, and public affairs. The next one is Reinvent New England, where we're partnering with Opus Consulting to talk about how companies are reinventing themselves in this economy. Until then, stay hunkered down in the PR bunker.